Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today we are here to talk about some of the interesting cricket news across the world. Definitely, we'll start out by talking about India's tour of Ireland. At this very point, as we understand, the match is going to be a curtailed one, which is going to be played between India and Ireland of 12 overs, which will start very shortly if rain, of course, permits. Rain has been a biggest factor for India. If you look in the last 1 week, last week when we joined you, it was some bad news that in Bangalore the match did not happen, and right now we're joining you, and the match is happening way far from Bangalore. It's in Dublin, and the rain has been haunting India even there. But some other bad news for India also is that Indian skipper Rohit Sharma has been tested positive, and he's very doubtful for that fifth Test match against England. And if you talk about the baseball, which has been entertaining a lot of fans across England and across the world and cricketing world, the English team has been playing some entertaining cricket and it has impressed everybody. Certainly, it has impressed us for sure. And let's get going. Sandibani, how are you doing? And let's get right into it, right? What do you reckon about this baseball? Let's talk about it because it's been one of the most exciting cricket. We've been talking about it almost in every of our life, but now they're going to be playing India very soon because this team is going to be taking on India on their fifth test match. And how much should India be prepared for that?
Yeah, I think England team are rightly on a roll. Right from the moment Ben Stokes took that captaincy and Brendan McCullum has stepped in as the coach with his same aggressive intent that he brings to the game. He has brought it for the England side, and we can see the results. I mean, we have to they had to chase down 270 odd in the first game. Close to 300 in the second game, and even in this game they have to chase close to 290. But the intent and the approach that they have shown in the fourth innings is something that reminds you of Brendan McCullum. I mean, he used to go about the game in a similar way. Somebody like Virendra Sehwag, Brendan McCullum. These are the aggressive way of cricket that they play. And right now, as we speak, I think Oli Pope is playing a brilliant knock this time
Right.
around. It was Bairstow in the second game. It was Joe Root in the first one. And even a brilliant Bairstow century in the first innings. And England were in lots of trouble. And we also have to give credit to Overton. I mean,
Yeah.
first game playing his debut and coming into bat when the team was at 55 for 6, trailing by close to 270 runs.
Yeah.
That innings was absolutely priceless along with Johnny Bairstow. I think that just set the momentum, and they have had the momentum throughout the series. They have just looked the better side out of the two.
I
And
mean, the
and
kind of run rate at which they're scoring is very scary for a Test cricket point of view because they're just trying to change that entire perception about Test cricket. Now, if you look in swinging conditions, can you bat out, or the old school would say just see out the swinging ball and just wait as the sun comes down. You can actually up the scoring rate. Now, England has now taken a different approach. You're 55 for six, go out there, counter attack, score as soon as possible. And you saw that in the last test match as well, isn't it? In the last test match, also, whilst they were chasing, you saw that kind of an approach. And Johnny Bairstow, what a revelation he has been in this, especially in this series. And also, let's give a special mention to Daryl Mitchell. He's had a fantastic series, 583 runs. He scored five consecutive 50 plus scores. Alongside him, he would definitely like to carry on Tom Blundell everywhere he goes
yeah,
because that partnership has been quite pivotal for New Zealand. Though they've not been able to get those big results, but them both
I
are
mean, but
also
that's
really
one
performance.
positive that they will definitely take from this series, because some of the big guns have not fired. I think if you think about it, Henry Nichols, Kane Williamson, Tom Latham, even a Devon Conway, they haven't had the sort of series that you expect from them. They have been pretty par, or one might even say below par, and it has the onus has been on Daryl Mitchell and Tom Blundell to rescue the side time in and time again. And to think about it, Daryl Mitchell was not even a first choice. I mean, if Henry Nichols wouldn't have been injured in the first test, I don't think he would have got that game. uh, and yeah, it's just luck to get that first game, and from then on I think it's just phenomenal batting. Mitchell has just showed that, yeah, like where were they hiding? Players like Daryl Mitchell, Devon Conway came so late
I
in
mean,
the
as you
yeah
say,
side.
Ross Taylor's retirement has just come in the right time for someone like Darren Mitchell. Now taking
Yeah.
that position up, and Henry Nicholson has definitely a series to forget for sure. He's definitely not come good this throughout the series, but you expect a player of Henry Nichols' class also to come good. And moreover,
Yeah,
all the
definitely.
eyes
I
are
mean, I
on
mentioned Henry
him.
Nichol's name ahead of somebody like a Kane Williamson and Tom Latham because he has flown under the radar for quite some
Yeah,
time now. He has
yeah.
had some consistent performances throughout, like whenever they play in New Zealand. I mean, Henry Nichols is one of their most consistent batsmen.
Absolutely. But the biggest worry for New Zealand will be that Kane Williamson hasn't scored a 50 since WTC final. And it's a long, long time. And it's something which will be definitely bothering Kane Williamson. And in this series, Matthew Potts has dismissed Kane Williamson 3 times. And
Yeah.
Kane Williamson is just averaging one against him. So that is something which is definitely going to be in Kane Williamson's mind as well. Definitely he's not going to get another opportunity to bat in this series. But let's talk about Kane Williamson's issue, right? He's underwent a elbow issue for a longer period of time. You saw that in the IPL as well. He was just not, going, and he's just not gotten going throughout that IPL. And if you look at it in the Test cricket as well, it's been almost a year and a half since WTC has taken place. Not maybe close to a year now since WTC has taken place, and he's not scored a 50. That's a huge, huge worry for New Zealand cricket. And there are already talks in the New Zealand media and among pundits that Tom Latham should be taking over the realm as captain of New Zealand. Sunny Bunny, what do you reckon about that, and how concerning it will be for New Zealand, especially now if you look at the WTC cycle, they're almost out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they have to focus on the next one. This time around, I think the first of all, I would just like to say that the WTC format is a bit confusing
Yeah,
to
it's a flawed
some
one.
range, and very the point system is not very validating. So I mean, some of the teams which have performed consistently throughout the year may miss an opportunity to play in the finals because of how they design those, like the series and the point system. So
Absolutely.
I would not think too much into the WTC. I mean, it's still in progress. They have recently launched it. It's just the second edition. So
Yeah.
I definitely know that they will improve the system as we move further along the road. But for now, I think for New Zealand, it's been disappointing. I mean, this time around, they are the defending World Test Championship. Like they are the defending champions, and to not be able to defend it, and they are just completely out of the race. They are not even in the front running. So that wise they have to sort of think about it, because they have had some we used to think that at one point New Zealand, they had almost made their home matches a fortress for them, so they were
Yeah.
winning, but then we saw a Bangladesh side come about and defeat a full strength New Zealand side at their home.
Yeah.
This has definitely not been the season that they would have liked. Very poor season from
I
Kane
mean, even
Williamson's
if you look at the
perspective.
WCC cycle of 2020, 2021, it was a very flawed one in many reasons. And New Zealand got
Yeah.
so many games in their home, especially 2 matches against West Indies, 2 matches against Sri Lanka, 2 matches against Pakistan, which really got them going. And if you look at the points table wise, if you just had to calculate between the points, New Zealand weren't even the deserving finalists. And in the final, India just went down on a rainy day. And I'm not just talking, India should have played definitely better on the last day of that,
Yeah,
on that
that was
W.
very disappointing.
That
Yeah, I
was
mean, to
pure.
get dismissed for, you just had to play out a day, and that
Yeah,
too it was rain affected. So yeah, it was just a bad result for us. But
yeah,
talking about Kane Williamson, I think he has to do something, because it's something that somebody like a Steven Smith, Virat Kohli, they are also struggling with the same thing, lack of form.
yeah.
I mean, you definitely, out of the top four or top five, only Babar Azam and Joe Root are the consistent ones right now. But you
Yeah.
definitely have to understand that
I
the
mean,
top
that's
four or
been the
top
thing with
five.
the Fab Four, right? If you look from
Yeah,
the start, it was Virat Kohli, Steve Smith,
yeah,
then
we
you
can
had
just make it
Kane
Fab
Williamson.
Five, because I think Babar Azam now deserves a place over there.
Yeah, the Barbara Smith certainly deserves a place. He's been in
Yeah,
fabulous, fabulous form. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The way in which he bats, it's been impeccable. I don't know where else he has to go out there and prove. He's proven in England, he's proven in Australia. I don't know, is there any other country for him to go out there and prove? He's proven in the World Cup as well. So, Babar Azam is a strong contender to be making that list of Fab Five. But now let's shift focus to Team India. They played a practice match in Leicestershire, which was a draw, but definitely a lot of positive to take forward from that. especially the form of KS Bharat would be something which India will be definitely happy about. Maybe he could possibly open the batting as well, as we hear, because Rohit Sharma's COVID result hasn't yet come after the rapid antigen test. He was tested positive, and as we wait for RT-PCR, the things are more likely that Jasprit Bumrah will be leading India in that fifth Test match. Something, but I would like to know from you as to how do you see Jasprit Bumrah's inclusion as a captain in that particular side, because there are two sides now. One side says that Virat Kohli should be leading India because this is a series which Virat Kohli started. Virat Kohli gave lead to Team India. It's 2-1, and it'll be the fitting end for Virat Kohli, the captain in Test cricket as well, to be leading India for that one last time in Edgbaston. The other side says that it's a perfect time to blood in someone like Jasprit Bumrah, see his mettle, and see where things go from there on.
I mean, we have had like recently the trend has been to like make your leading fast bowler the captain. Like Australia started this trend with Pat Cummins. I don't know whether like there was a hit streak from Zimbabwe, if you recall,
Let's not forget,
right from the back of it.
meanwhile, someone like Shaheen Afridi led his PSL side to victory as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
fast
definitely.
bowlers have been doing
So
a
I
decent
think
job.
it's a yeah. Going forward, I think it's a like it's a good thing that they are likely to hand over the captaincy to Jasprit Bumrah. But to be fair, I think I'll still like if I am a bit biased, I'll still stick to the former choice that I think Virat Kohli should have been given the captaincy for just the one game. I'll tell you why I think that because first of all, the series he started the series as captain, so it is only fitting that he ends it. And also,
Yeah,
in over the last 2-3 months, there has been a lot of changes in the captaincy for Team India. Like
right.
whatever may be the reason, but you have a Hardik Pandya captaining a side, you have a Rishabh Pant captaining the side. There was KL Rahul for a brief
I mean,
stint.
there have been six captains this year. If you look, Virat Kohli captain in the first couple of matches. It was then KL Rahul captain. Then you had Rishabh Pant. Now Hardik Pandya today. Then you had Rohit Sharma, and there's going to be a sixth captain in international cricket for Team India.
Yeah.
So it's been an
So
year of. So
just to
I'm not.
stabilize the ship, I just
Has there
have this.
ever been a situation ever in a calendar year where you've had more than five captains? I think this is going to be the first time ever in Indian cricket history you're going to be having six different captains captaining India
Not just
in
Indian
different
cricket, you have
formats.
to check for all the teams. I mean, I don't remember like captaincy being changed so frequently, and that too for a nation as like as dominant as Team India in cricket. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, one one could possibly say it's because Rohit Sharma is someone who's very prone to injury. We've seen that with him. Now it's unfortunate he got contracted with COVID, and Rohit Sharma has been missing so many matches. That's something which is quite not a pleasant sight for any Rohit Sharma fans as well. And now, if you talk about the way in which India has formulated themselves in the last 10 years or so, you've had maximum one captain or a split captain leading in different formats, but now you're having more than five captains, leading India in different formats. That's definitely not a good sign for Team India, and definitely for Rohit Sharma as well. This was definitely one of the debates which was put forth before even Rohit Sharma took over the reins as captain. That Rohit Sharma's injuries in overseas Test matches, Rohit Sharma's injuries being a big concern. From Team India's perspective, more than Rohit Sharma the captain in Test cricket, Rohit Sharma the batter is going to be a huge mess. If you look at the last two series where India lost in overseas, New Zealand and South Africa, you really did miss Rohit Sharma the batter, isn't it? And this particular series, Rohit Sharma is the leading run scorer.
Yeah, definitely. And also the form that Rohit Sharma was in, yeah, rightly, he was the leading run scorer. Not just Rohit Sharma, I mean, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma were providing India with some great starts at the top, which we had not seen for a long time. I think before this, the highest opening partnership in England was way back in 2007 when Dinesh Karthik.
Wasim Jaffer.
Yeah, and Wasim Jafar opened the innings. So for 14 years, we had not seen that
And not just that, there was another record which was broken, that a decade-long record of not having a 100+ partnership in
yeah.
Sena countries. It was
So
between
we have
Gautam
had
Gambhir
a
and
lot of
Sehwag last time.
instability when it comes to opening the batting in overseas matches.
Yeah,
overseas, when I'm talking about overseas, I mean not barring the subcontinent, because Sri Lanka, you definitely have pitches that are sort of similar to India. So barring subcontinent, I think there was a lot of instability in the side, and with
right.
KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma both opening, there was this sort of stability. Both were in excellent form, so India will definitely face an uphill task, because Kohli, you never know, not in the best of forms. A fairly young side, a fairly young captain. I mean, captaining for the first time. So it's going to be interesting to see how India really tackles. And you have to remember that
How
England are
how
coming
how
off.
impressed were you of the practice matches? Because from the practice match, couple of positives which I was able to gather was one was definitely Shubman Gill coming back in form today, and other was
Yeah.
Virat Kohli's batting. Of course, Virat Kohli looked in very good touch, and I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he
disappointed with the
obviously
bit of
does look
Shreyas
in good
Iyer's
touch
batting.
in test matches, but he does. He's just not lucky enough to convert those starts into big scores that he was being able to do consistently till 2019 November.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be very important for Virat Kohli to step up in this match with Rohit Sharma not being present. Let's talk about a scenario if Rohit Sharma is not playing. Who would you really like to open? And before that, let me just give you an update. Ireland are 6-1. Now, actually, they're now they're 6-2 actually. At the end of one, in the amidst of second over, Hardik Pandya has picked up a wicket, and also Bhuvneshwar Kumar. It's a good start for India there in Dublin in the first T20 against Ireland. So that's a live update from Ireland. It's a 12 over game, as we already mentioned. It's a curtail game. So the power play is going to be 4 overs, and it's going to be an interesting one to watch out for as well. So before that, let's talk about the openers, right? It's an interesting conundrum because we do not have a lot of openers in that squad. KL Rahul is injured. You don't have a Mayank Agarwal traveling with the squad. All you have is a KS Bharat now left alongside Shuman Gill and possibility of a Chiteshwar Pujara. In an ideal circumstance from here on, who would you like to open?
Yeah, it's really tricky, but I think if with all these injuries, taking all these injuries into consideration, I think this will probably help both Hanuma Vihari and Chetashwar Pujara. I think both of them. It's a possibility that both of them will get to play. I mean, Hanuma
Absolutely.
Vihari can open the innings. And Pujara can come in at number 3, Kohli at 4, Shreyas Iyer at 5, Pant at
Yeah.
6. So
Yeah.
I think that's a real possibility, because we were all considering if Chetashwar Pujara gets another go, who misses out, whether it was Hanuma Vihari or it was Shreyas Iyer. But with all the injuries, I think Hanuma Vihari has opened in the past, and I think they will like push Hanuma Vihari to open along with Shubman Gill, I guess.
I mean, I would be liking to say Chiteshwar Pujara open the batting for India because he's done it previously as well on few occasions opening the batting for India. So him opening alongside someone like Shubman Gill would be ideal in my opinion. I didn't. Chiteshwar Pujara has opened the batting once in England, or he's opened in West Indies if I'm not wrong. So Chiteshwar
Yeah.
Pujara is an experienced campaigner in that sense. I remember him opening the batting in Sri Lanka once, and he scored an unbeaten 100 where he carried the
But
bat through.
honestly, I would just like to add. Honestly, I don't like Hanuma Vihari at number 3. But then you have to consider, where do you bat Hanuma Vihari?
Yeah.
Whether you push Shreyas Iyer at number 3, Kohli at 4, and then you push Hanuma
Honestly, I
Vihari down
really
there.
feel Shreyas Iyer should not be bad playing the test match at all. Because Shreyas Iyer just certainly looks like a player who's out of confidence at this very point, and he's seriously struggling against quality paces. And
But
I
I
would
think
really
if
like
you
to
consider
see
the
him
last
play.
few Test matches, I think he'll get the go ahead.
He definitely should get a go as per past performance. And
Yeah.
I really think Shreyas Iyer should not really go out there and back thinking that, okay, you should go out there and play this defensive game. Just take a leaf out of the book of the English team and go out there and play fearless cricket because Shreyas Iyer in Ranji Trophy in some of his best seasons has had a strike rate close to 100. And that's when Shreyas Iyer is at his supreme best. And I really feel that he should go out there, express himself, batting at number 5, take the game on. If he goes out there and tries to play that knock where he wants to go out there, settle in, I bet there'll be a ball with his name on, and that's going to be really bad for him as well. So Shreyas Iyer should just go out there, play a fearless brand of cricket, which he is known to play in Ranji Trophy level, and take the game on. And him and Rishabh Pant will be the two linchpins for Team India, especially in
Yeah.
playing that X factor role in Test cricket. And I would have never used this word in Test cricket maybe a year or two ago, but that Test cricket has been going that way where you need X
You
factor players.
definitely have a lot of players in the England side with that X factor. There is Butler, there is Besto. Like Butler is not playing. I mean, Folks is obviously playing, but there is. If you consider that Butler can come in at number seven whenever he plays Test
I
matches.
mean, that's an interesting point, as you mentioned about Joss Butler. Kumar Sangakkara in commentary in that New Zealand vs England match did point out that Joss Butler should be opening the batting for England. And as he gave example of Virendra Sehwag and Matthew Hayden, and with this team playing this kind of fearless brand of cricket, can Butler be that differentiator? Just send him up opening, score that quick 30, 40 runs,
Yeah, because
take the
they
game
don't
on.
have a consistent, stable opening batter. So they
Yeah.
can definitely try Josh Butler. They might as well try because Butler has proved his worth in the T20 format, opening the innings, and rightly pointed out by Sangakkara. Like, yeah, the examples were spot on. Virendra Sehwag used to come in at number six initially,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
once he was given that opening role, everybody thought that he would fail. But this sort of aggressive cricket was started by Virendra Sehwag, and then somebody like a Brendan McCullum, and you might argue, yeah, Virendra Sehwag and Matthew Hayden used to play this sort of aggressive brand of cricket right from
I
start.
mean, just give the example of Rohit Sharma, right? Rohit Sharma at number six was definitely not excelling, but he does not play the same brand of cricket like Joss Butler. But for
Yeah,
players like
yeah,
this, maybe opening could do a
definitely.
world of good.
Yeah. Definitely not the right way to put it because his strike rate is way less in test matches because Rohit Sharma is sort of he takes some time to get going, rightly so. But over the years, we have seen that he has been a way better player opening the innings rather than coming in at number six for India
Right.
in test matches and in the shorter formats of the game as well. When he used to come in the middle order, he did not have many success. But then Dhoni, rightly from the 2013, I think, right after 2011 World Cup itself, they opted with Rohit Sharma to come up the top, like come at the top of the order and dominate the bowling.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really tricky how because with so many injuries and England being on red hot form, it will be interesting to see how India fares against England. It's going to be definitely going to be an uphill task, and England are definitely the favorites.
Absolutely. At this very point, England are the favourites looking at the home advantage, what they have, and their form as well. They've been
Yeah,
playing an attractive brand of cricket, which has got every cricket fan at the edge of the seat. And it's the same England team we all criticized at the end of the West Indies series, just writing them off in Test cricket, just saying that the Test cricket has really died in England. But then there's been a clear resurgence. We'd have a complete podcast on this as to what could we expect, and that's exactly what we have seen. What we expected has been delivered by Brennan McCullum and boys, and it's something very exciting for everyone.
and
But other than that,
yeah,
yep,
just so that it does not fly under the radar, we have given a lot of credit to the English batsmen in this series. Somebody like a uh, uh, Johnny Besto, Joe Root, and in the this game, Oli Pope, they are doing exceedingly well. Even Ben Stokes is chipping in. But you have to consider it's like Jack Leach got a 10 wicket haul in this game, five
yep,
wickets in each of the innings. It's a commendable feat, being a spinner in England conditions to get a five-wicket haul in each innings of a game. It's an uphill
absolutely.
task, definitely.
Absolutely. And let's talk about one of the most historic day in Indian cricket as well. Madhya Pradesh won their maiden ever Ranji Trophy title, because we had to talk about. I really wanted an entire live focusing on this particular feat because, yeah, we did speak about it a day prior to the Ranji Trophy final, right? This was going to be a big, big test for Madhya Pradesh, and boy, did they turn up. They were the underdogs going into the final, and Chandrakant Pandit, what a coach, what a legend of the game. He was a captain of this Madhya Pradesh team in 1998 when they lost that final to Karnataka in Chinnaswamy Stadium. 24 years later, he has taken the team to their maiden ever Ranji Trophy final. So the story couldn't have been written any better for Chandrakant Pandit. His fourth Ranji Trophy title as a coach in 6 years' time. He's been the coach of Vidarbha, he's been the coach of Mumbai, and now yet again, he's delivered for them. He's delivered for Madhya Pradesh. Such a legendary coach in the Indian domestic circuit. He has molded some great, great talents which are coming out of Madhya Pradesh, likes of Avesh Khan, Rajat Patidar, Venkatesh Iyer. Now you have Aditya Srivastava and Yas Dubey as well, and Ankush Raghuvanshi, who was a very interesting talent alongside. Kumar Kartikeya, what a spinner he has been. The name list goes on. Madhya Pradesh team, there's a wonderful season for them. Saniman, your initial thoughts on this team, because this team has written something which no other team in Madhya Pradesh could.
It has been a fairy tale ride for Madhya Pradesh. Definitely the underdogs heading into the quarterfinals, one might say. Okay, the quarterfinals you still consider, but semifinals to face a Bengal side in form, defeat them, come to the finals against Mumbai, the most dominant side in Ranji Trophy. Definitely the underdogs, but yeah, definitely kudos to Chandrakant Pandit, because fourth title in 6 years is a magnanimous feat. I mean, and not just for one team, like uh, coaching three different teams. it's
Yeah,
it's been a fairy tale ride for Madhya Pradesh, for all the players. I think Rajat Patidar had a brilliant series, a brilliant season, to add to whatever he did in IPL. Just to add to that, he I think he is the second highest run scorer this season, right behind Sarfaraz. uh,
yeah,
so Sarfaraz Khan. So it has been a brilliant series for all the batters. Shubham Sharma scoring that century in the finals.
yeah.
Yash Dubey, all of them have chipped in really well with the bat. And there is Kumar Kartikeya, and he has been making some noise. Yeah, for Mumbai Indians, he was introduced. He bowled
Yeah.
brilliantly in whatever opportunities
Second
he
leading
was
wicket taker
provided.
in Ranji Trophy. Let's not forget that 32 wickets in 6 games,
Yeah,
including three 5 wicket hauls, is just brilliant from Kumar Kartikeya. I think Mumbai Indians found him really well in the Ranji Trophy's initial leg as well. From there on, that IPL would have definitely given him that confidence to take his game to another level now. And now all of a sudden you're looking him as a more of a red ball bowler as well. So that's a great
yeah,
sign for Madhya Pradesh cricket and Indian cricket as well. But I have to talk about Rajat Patidar, right? Rajat Patidar, in a month's time, he has played in two clutch games, delivered in two clutch games. A terrific, terrific player.
yeah.
He
Second
showed.
highest wicket taker. I mean,
I mean,
Kumar Kartikeya.
absolutely, yeah, that's what I mentioned. Second highest wicket taker with 32 wickets in 6 games. Just brilliant. That's just been top notch stuff from Kumar Kartikeya, and not just that, Rajat Patidar as well. Now, let's talk about the talent pool. You had someone like an Avesh Khan and Venkatesh Iyer missing out from this Ranji Trophy final as well.
Yeah.
So, where do you see this team going from here on?
I mean, it's only upwards from what I see. I mean, they are definitely the team to beat, because and you have to understand that they did not win just by the first innings lead, which most
Yeah,
of us were expecting given the conditions. But they had an outright win over Mumbai. Uh, so a very dominating performance throughout the season. They brought it. They carried their form throughout the season, and whenever in the clutch situations, the senior players, whatever the senior players are in the side, they stepped up. I
yeah,
mean, whenever they were needed, they had the performance. A century, a 5 wicket haul, whenever like it was asked of them, they performed. And I think they are going to be the team to beat in the next season. I mean, you
absolutely.
always know that teams like Karnataka, Mumbai, Bengal, they are the heavyweights. They are definitely the heavyweights with all the uh, all the experienced players, potential Indian players playing over there. But you have to understand these that with all this pool sorting, like now a lot of states are playing a lot of remote states are getting opportunities to play in Ranji Trophy. So the teams are well, you might say some of the teams are a bit skewed, like they don't have the bench strength or the balance that they need. But we have seen a very even distribution in some of the second tier teams. And definitely you would consider Madhya Pradesh, you would definitely not consider Madhya Pradesh as a group A, as an elite team. They are definitely the second in the second division, sort of, if you second pool, if you would like to call it. So it has been a massive fairy tale ride, as I said, a massive upset, and definitely a very good thing, because the youngsters, the all these youngsters, the lesser known players. I mean, how many of you would have heard of somebody like a Shubham Sharma playing this
Yeah,
sort of a knock in the finals?
yeah.
Yeah, so it has been
I
all
mean,
these small names
what
chipping in.
impressed me the most was, today they could have easily, people would have definitely said, if they go for a draw also, they would have still won the Ranji Trophy. But
Yeah,
then to get that outright win in the final, just adds that cherry on top of the cake, and it just feels much better.
just
Once
shows
you get
their
a draw win,
dominance, the
yeah,
dominance that they have showed this season.
And chasing 108, it could have been tricky. And when they lost that first wicket in the second over, but from there on, Rajat Patidar, Shubham Sharma, they were all very confident in taking the team forward, and that's what you want to see from this young crop of men from Madhya Pradesh. And I'm sure that even in the one-day format, they're going to come really hard, and with the kind of team they've got, and I expect great things from them. But yeah, let's talk about Prithvi Shaw. There's an interesting question on Prithvi Shaw. Do you reckon Prithvi Shaw not able to stand in the crease for a longer period of time is a concern for Mumbai? Because he's giving them those starts, quick 40, 50, which know of him to be giving in 2020 cricket, but that's not really working in the longer format, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, they have been depending on Prithvi Shaw, but he's your opener and your captain. But you have to understand that they also have players like Yashasvi Jaiswal,
Yeah,
Sarfaraz Khan, who have done massive, like who have contributed massively in the team's success. And not to forget Shams Mulani. I think he
yeah,
has picked up 49 wickets this season, the highest wicket taker this season by a huge margin.
yeah.
So you have to consider all these players. I don't think Mumbai are too dependent on Prithvi Shaw. They
I
are
that
dependent on.
Mumbai did not lose the championship with their batting. They lost it in their bowling. They had Shams Mulani, but did not have anybody to back him
Yeah,
up.
they did not have any bowler who was supporting, who could support Mulani.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
was
And in the
Tushar
previous eras, you had
Deshpande,
Tahir
Dhaval
Khan, you had a
Kulkarni, but
Dhawal Kulkarni in the song as
yeah,
well, which was quite missing here.
yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely Dhaval Kulkarni. Then somebody like a Tushar Deshpande had a decent season, but definitely Dhaval Kulkarni is an experienced player, and you would definitely expect better of him because he has played in so many Ranji Trophy matches, so many Ranji Trophy finals. Now he has a lot of experience. He has played for Team India in the T20 format, I guess.
Yeah, yes, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, even in the ODI matches also he has represented Team India. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really not his year, but definitely
I mean,
credit should
definitely,
go where credit
he's
is due.
definitely not
Madhya
your
Pradesh
prime
just
bowler at this
Yeah, Madhya
age.
Pradesh just steamrolled Mumbai Indians in this season.
Mumbai.
Not just Mumbai. Yeah, sorry, I'm just referring to Mumbai Indians. Uh, yeah, and for Kumar Karthikeya to defeat Mumbai is
Yeah,
something ironical.
I mean, yeah, definitely. It just feels good as a bowler to ball against Mumbai and just come in that fifth day wicket, go out there, deliver the kind of spell he did. It was just wonderful to watch him do that. But yeah, let's talk about India as an island. You have Umran Malik making his debut for India for the first time. How excited are you to see him play international cricket? And do you really consider him to be part of your plans going into the World Cup?
If he does well, definitely he'll be in consideration. But I definitely thought that Arshdeep would make the cutoff ahead of Umran Malik
Yeah, me
when
too.
it comes to like T20s. And
Absolutely.
for now he hasn't come into bowl yet. I think Avesh Khan, Akshar Patel, Hardik Pandya, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. These are the four bowlers that have been used so far.
Yeah,
But yeah, he'll come in right after the power play is over. I think the power play is over. So he'll come in to bowl in the middle overs, and
yeah,
we'll see how he goes. But I definitely thought Ashdeep deserved a place ahead of Umran Malik. Taking nothing away from the fast bowler, he comes in at great pace, bowls in at great pace, has a very good liner length, has been
yeah.
mentored by one of the best play bowlers that the world has seen, Dale Steyn, in the longest format of the game. So yeah, just it will be interesting to see how he goes, but I don't think the Ireland series will test his mental, whatever he's made up of. I think it would have been wiser if Team India would have experimented a bit in the South Africa series. We
Yeah.
had spoken ahead of the series that they really had nothing to lose. They had a long streak going, so once they lost the first game, I think they really had nothing to lose. They could have
Absolutely.
tried on some like experimented a bit more with players like Ravi Bishnoi, Arshdeep Singh, and probably Umran Malik as well.
I mean, there's
We
an
could have
interesting comment which Hardik Pandya made as well. Today, even the Twitter space, I took that up. It was that we'll be focusing on the same roadmap set by Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma, and which clearly means there are clear messages coming from Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma as to the kind of players you should be trying out. And they also mentioned that we'll be playing our best team. So they don't want to experiment a lot. They want to stick to the core and give them as many games as possible heading into the World Cup. But at the same time, I would have loved to see. I would love to see actually Umran Malik being tested in that five-match T20 series against England,
yeah.
which will be starting in a couple of weeks' time from here on. Right after the first test on 7th, you're going to be having that first T20, which will be played between India versus England. and that's going to be a mouth-watering one for sure because there you're going to be taking on one of the best sides in the world when it comes to T20 cricket against informed players like Liam Livingston, Joss Butler, and that's where you're going to be really tested as a team as well. There, I would really
Yeah.
love to see India playing their strongest team, a team which should be taking field on the World Cup, almost the same squad I like to see. And today, I mean, now going into the World Cup as well, I really want to know from you who are going to be your three pacers. You can say there's going to be Harshal Patel, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Jasprit Bumrah. But if you were to choose right now, who would be your three pacers? Just looking at the World Cup is in Australia.
I think definitely Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and I will go for Mohammad Shami. I think he has done really well so far. I think he deserves a place ahead
Yeah,
of all the youngsters. I think Harshal Patel is no joke. Harshal Patel, India definitely need a death over bowler, but
yeah.
I would still go for Mohammad Shami. And if you want to experiment, right now is the time to experiment, because they could have tried. I really wanted to see how Arshdeep Singh fares at the
Yeah,
depth,
I would have loved to
because
see Arshdeep as well ahead of Umran Malik.
yeah, definitely, because Umran Malik will come in and bowl in the middle overs, but India already have bowlers who can come in and bowl in the middle overs. They have somebody like in this game they have Hardik Pandya, Akshar Patel coming in and filling in the roles.
Yuzvendra Chahal.
Yuzvendra Chahal, definitely. I was not talking about the specialist spinner, but
Yeah,
talking about the future when India is going to play in the World Cup, they are going
yeah.
to operate with Yuzvendra Chahal and their fifth bowling option in the
And
middle
let's not
overs.
forget, Arshdeep Singh is a very good candidate to even open the bowling for India because him with this ability to take the
Yeah.
ball in and out of the left, of the right
Two
hand and
overs
of
at the
the
top,
left
two
hand,
overs at the
that's very
death.
good.
I think I want Arshdeep Singh to be used in that way. I think Punjab Kings definitely did not use him in the right manner this season. They were
Yeah,
keeping him like saving his overs right till the back, like last 10 overs, where when most of the time the game was over. Punjab Kings were losing the game within the first 10 overs of the match. So Arshdeep Singh was not really having anything to defend. So
yeah,
I definitely think the best the best option for him is two overs at the top, two overs at the death,
absolutely.
like how Bhuvneshwar Kumar operates.
And you would need a left arm angle in the World Cup, right? That's one of the most predominant angles in T20 cricket, and that's something which is so underrated as well. Him creating that angle from around the wicket and over the wicket is going to be so important, and that's why I felt Ashdeep would have been a better pick over Umran Malik. But nonetheless, I'm so excited to watch Umran Malik play as well. His first over is not going as per the plan. He's given already a wide four. It's considered 7-1. Oh, it's leg by. I'm just correcting it there. So it's six is almost considered 2 runs. Leg by is definitely not going to go into his account. So that's okay. It works either way. But
I don't think Ireland is going to pose any threat to Team India unless they score over 120 in the 12 overs,
yeah,
which from the looks of it looks really unlikely right
unless
now.
India has a collapse in the top order straight up, when India's
But
put to
they
bat.
they still have enough depth to sort of win the game. I mean, Akshar Patel can come in and do the job for them.
And absolutely, I mean, Umran Malik. I know pace is such a key weapon, but in Australia, I've often seen pace being a negative weapon. I've seen some of the best fast
But
bowlers go to
you have to
back.
understand that somebody like a Natarajan has really succeeded in Australia. And
Yeah,
what sort of bowler comes to your mind when you think about Natarajan? I think like to leg replacement is Arshdeep Singh. Will come
Arshdeep
in,
Singh.
bowl at the death, will bowl in the power plays if needed. And I definitely I was really expecting them to try out Arshdeep Singh in the
And I was
T20
also
format.
a little disappointed that they did not go for someone like a Sanju Samson in this match. He's never gotten a longer rope in international cricket, and that's a sad state of affairs, right? When someone as talented as Sanju Samson getting games and patches, he gets 2 matches, he fails there, and you put him out of the team, and that's not the way how you should be playing any player. I feel I was just seeing a picture of Joss Butler and Ben Stokes. How they started off their career. They had an average of 8 in their first 20 matches, and that's
I
something
mean,
which
Ben Stokes started as a number 9, number 10 batsman. Like he used to come. He was a predominant
Stokes,
bowler.
yeah, Stokes was like that, and now you're talking about a player who just won the World Cup for them, taking the team single-handedly to the World Cup
Won
win,
a
and
World Cup, almost won an Ashes single-handedly, almost
yeah,
won, not like won a game, almost won the Ashes for them. Like
yeah,
it could have sparked a turnaround, but not to be.
absolutely. Umar Malik is all over the place on his debut over. Of course, nerves are kicking into him on his debut India spell, but nonetheless, the conditions are also never easy. It's very cold out there in Dublin. Ball is
Yeah.
swinging around quite a bit, so if you do not have the control, it could just look like an off day for you. But then, yeah, I hope, Hardik Pandya, supports him and backs him to the tilt at this very point, because when you have such an over, you would want your captain to go out there and back you as well.
I think Hardik Pandya is someone who will definitely trust Umran Malik to complete it. We might as well see Umran Malik bowling all the 3 overs. I mean, only
Yeah,
two bowlers will be allowed to bowl 3 overs. And I think Hardik Pandya may even go with Umran Malik to bowl his 3 overs, because it's all about making like a youngster comfortable. And Hardik Pandya has mentioned it in the past that Dhoni, when Hardik Pandya was a newbie,
yeah.
Dhoni gave him that extra stint of 2 overs against Australia in his debut
I
game
remember that. I reckon he went for 20 runs in the first over, but he got
in
the
the
wicket
first
in the
over,
last
and then he
one.
got 2 wickets
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
next 2 overs.
yeah. I
So
remember it.
I think definitely Hardik Pandya will, from his own experience, he will definitely back somebody like a Umran Malik. But talking not just from the Indian point of view, talking from the Ireland point of view, I think it's good that so two of their mainstays, Paul Sterling and Balburney, the captain, they haven't performed really well. Balburney got out for a duck, and
Yeah,
Paul Sterling had a rare failure, got out for four. So
yeah.
this gives them the opportunity for some youngster like Harry Tector. Harry Tector has
Harry
been
Pitter is pretty
around.
impressive for me.
Yeah, he
He-
has been very impressive, and he has knocked around the doors. Like, he has gone again, flown under the radar, because Ireland have all these had all these exquisite batsmen like Paul Sterling opening with uh, in T20. I think he was opening with Kevin O'Brien
Yeah.
for a long time. Balburn used to come in at number 3, and they used to do like major of the scoring, most of the scoring. But over the last a year or so, we have seen Harry Tector really come around. He has
And
scored
even
like
Simi
he has.
Singh, for example, for Ireland has been pretty impressive if you look at the last 1 year. It's not quite featuring in this 11, but yeah, he's been also very impressive. Alongside him, I like to see how George Dockrell goes. He's been around the corner for quite a long period of time. I remember him playing the 2011 World
And
Cup.
also, George Dockrell has a lot of experience. Yeah, he has played all over the world. He has played
Yeah.
T20 tournaments all over the world. So I think definitely there are some players to look out for. Uh, Also, Joshua Little, Mark Adair.
Jocelyn, yeah.
These
Curtis Campbell
Yeah,
has also
Joshua.
been a quite an interesting
Yeah.
choice for Ireland. He did quite well in the World Cup as well, in the recently concluded T20 World Cup. So Ireland, as their coach Malan, who came out saying that they would want to play some impressive attacking brand of cricket leading into that World Cup in Australia. So that's going to be interesting to see how they go about it in his maiden series as a coach against a strong Indian side. And I'm also impressed how Dinesh Karthik is India's second choice wicket keeper, so which is a clear indication that Ishan Kishan is the second choice opener, not the keeper, and Dinesh Karthik is going to be the second choice keeper, which is an indication to the World Cup and who's going to be the backup keeper for India as well. So quite interesting as to how things are brewing out there. Nothing much to talk about other than this from the world of
Mean,
cricket.
Rishabh Pant really turned it around in the practice game, scoring
Yeah.
that quick fire 76.
But I
Otherwise,
have
I
never
think
doubted Rishabh Pant, the player in longer format of the game. He arguably
yeah,
is one
not
of the
just the
leading
longer
keepers.
format of the game, but I think he also sent a message loud and clear that like we were sort of having all these talks about him not being the best of captains, not being the best of players in T20 in the recent years.
Yeah.
But
But that's
yeah,
been the
definitely
thing
a
with Rishabh
statement.
Pant, right? Him in Test cricket, there's been no question at all. He's averaging 40 plus, one of the best players, one of the best glovemen right now, if you
Yeah.
look in ball cricket in Test. He's been scoring consistently across the world, scored a century in South Africa, scored well in Australia, scored really well in India, of course. So there's no doubt about Rishabh Pant, the player in Test cricket, but it's always been T20. He has to him not able to find the mojo in T20 internationals, and I'm sure that Test cricket form will definitely he'll like to convert into T20. And once he comes in the fold, it's going to be free to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Having said that, thank you guys for joining. It was a wonderful time talking, taking your questions as well. And we've been able to cover almost everything which has happened across the world of cricket in the last 4 days. And we'll be coming very soon as well, right after the T20 series against India versus Ireland is over. We'll be coming back. We'll be doing a preview on the first and the fifth test match. I know I just keep saying it's a first test match because it's been such a long gap between that fourth and the fifth test match. And everything in the series, the stats, everything remains the same. Stokes will be playing the first match of the series because he was not part of that squad which took on India in that four test matches. Joe Root is another captain. We do not know who's going to be the Indian captain. Just wait for 1st of July. We'll be knowing who's going to be India's captain. Let's hope Rohit Sharma recovers and India will really need Rohit Sharma, the captain, and also the batter leading into that series. And of course, India would want to win the series after 15 long years in England, of course. And thank you all for joining. And
and
remember to
and
play
that's
the fantasy content
that's
Boomer
a
11.
series, I think, along with South Africa. England has been another like fortress that they haven't conquered in the last couple of years. Even 15 years back in 2007, it was a very close encounter. Michael
Absolutely.
Vaughan led that England side really well. And
Absolutely.
some of the youngsters for India did the job for them, because Rahul Dravid, there was definitely Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar doing their parts, but some of the youngsters like Wasim Jaffer, Dinesh Karthik was very young at that point. They really stepped in for Team India and had that memorable win.
Absolutely. As we speak, the final of the Boomer T10 Bash is happening, the corporate cricket tournament in Dubai. Of course, if you want the latest updates, follow us on Instagram because we're giving some latest updates there. It's an interesting T10 tournament which is happening. It's been 3 days of exuberant cricket which has taken place, and today is the final. So do not miss out on that. If you had an opportunity to make teams for your T10 alongside picking your colleagues and playing this
It's a
T10
shame
Bash
we
as
could
well.
not cover it live, nah?
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't cover it live from the ground, but yeah, we have our men over there, Anahat, and everybody's over there to cover it live. So they've been giving some interesting updates. There, so do not miss out on that as well. And of course, play all the fantasy cricket contests with Boom 11 because there's some exciting cricket awaiting you, including the fifth Test match and five-match T20 series, and also a second T20 against Ireland. So all the cricket awaits and all the fun with Boom 11. Download the app right now and also subscribe to our channel and show some love by sharing the video and liking on it so that we can bring you some exciting content in the coming days. Thank you, Sandipani, and have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good night.